sometimes I wonder about who am I really? Who, with having a mental disorder and being off balance, it's hard to find out who you really are deep down inside. And I think probably, even people who don't have a disorder, probably don't have a hard time finding that. But what do we do in order to really find ourselves, to find out who we really are deep down inside spiritually, what we truly enjoy without having any kind of influence from the negative people of the world, and even considered the sinful influence. But if we were able to get rid of all that, we could find out who we really are. What are our individual talents? What is our core? What really makes us who we are? I believe that before we were even here, we did have talents. We were an intelligence. So we were born into this world with these talents. I believe in something called, and I've heard it before, and I heard it on The Secret, but when I was little, I used to think that I had this thing, I'd call it DNA memory, and I don't know if it was on The Secret or not, but I heard from one of my therapists that there is such thing, that and that's how we get some of our thoughts and some of our talents comes through the generations of your family, but being born with this. But so in other words, if that's the case, are we really, who are we really? And if it's DNA memory, then we are truly a part of a core of a group of people that make who you are, and you are part of them. And it's like we are individual, but yet we're not. It may seem a little bit deep, but if there is such thing as DNA memory, and the talents from your past, like let's say even a couple hundred years ago, you happen to get that thought, that DNA thought memory into your life, then you truly are a part of that person down the line on your family tree. But who are we really without any of that? What makes us? And I think it's just intelligence, just thought. But yet there are things that really hit you deep down inside, and you get this really strong, warm feeling every time something happens. And if you were to write down what happened, and what maybe you were watching on TV that influenced you, or you seen something really neat and made you feel really emotional out in the world, you wrote that down, you could actually maybe figure out who you really are, because it is hitting you on a very personal level, and rather than just being influenced by maybe this DNA memory, of that's handed down to you through the generations. But these really emotional things that really hit you and even make you cry, maybe tell you who you really are, by years of, of writing this down and thinking, why does this particular thing always make me feel emotional? Is that saying something really about myself, who I am as an individual, without the influence of of your generation, of your family line? Um, and I always hear about these people that go out and I need to go out and I gotta go find myself. I gotta see who I really am. And some people, I think, can just go out and do it. And some people, it takes years, even a lifetime, to do that. But I find that really interesting because I do want to know who I am. I do have a really close relationship with God. Um, that's another thing that's really personal to me. I don't like talking about it because I don't like hearing anything negative about my personal belief in that, and it has nothing to do with my religion or nothing, because I've been this way ever since I was just little. I can remember these thoughts that most people would think were really quite deep and maybe a little bit odd and different, but they really meant something to me. And that is something that can only come from God and yourself, and not being influenced by anybody else. That stuff, it's really personal to me, but I like to be able to talk about it because I want, maybe somebody out there has that same desire and that same belief, and if we could come together, we can really learn a lot more. But it's those people that have a different belief, and I'm up to be open-minded. I'm trying to be better about that. But you get a couple people that have that same belief, you can really understand it more. It's kind of like two people who have borderline, who really understand what that is. You get 2, 3, 4, even 10 people talking about it. We can really learn a lot more about it, and more about ourselves, and how to deal with it, and use it for our own good. Maybe it's not really that bad of a thing. Maybe we're obviously born with it, so we just need to learn it and use it as a tool to be. With mine, I am extreme in everything I do, but I don't get it. I don't get anything really done or accomplished, but I do think a lot, and I think with the help of people, maybe they can tell me maybe how I can do that. Maybe just take it. I always hear the term baby steps, and but when I want to do something, I'm very spontaneous. When I want to do it, I want to do it now, and I want to be productive now with it. But it doesn't work that way. But I'm kind of getting off course there, so I'm gonna go because this is about out of time. I don't know how many seconds ago. But anyway, ponder that and tell me what you think. Thank you.